Good evening, good evening, good evening. Today is November 5th, 2024. It's a remarkable day that many of you that know something about today, I'm going to remind you. It is 6 o'clock. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 5:30. The polls closed in the Chicago area at 7. I didn't say who, but remember this, go out and vote while you have time so that you will be a part of history and not just looking and observing at history. So I had to get that reminder out first. For those who haven't voted, you better tell folks in your family who haven't voted, go on to the voting booth and get your votes in for whomever. All right. But thank you for being here, you folks out at the Atlas Center on 79th and Quigere, you folks at the Kroc Center, our listeners from every week. Glad to have you here. We're going to have a young, dynamic young man. I'm going to give you a little bit more information about it. But first, as I do every week, I've got to give thanks to the studio producer today by herself, and that is Rocio Santos. She is handling the boards by herself today, and we thank Rocio for that. Got a shout out also to our executive director of Channel 21 CAN TV, and that is Mr. Darius Hillman. Mr. Hillman, thank you again for having a show like us and promoting and making this a welcome part of the CAN TV lineup of stars and the stars that I will bring in today. I've got to make this special shout out to Philip Jackson, the founder of the Black Star Group and Black Star Project. And that's who is the sponsor for this show and who is continuing this through the executive director, Gloria Smith. Gloria, thank you for helping us and keeping this going and bringing us great guests for the program. I want to say something very special about this guest because there's a little background about him, how he came to be with the Black Star Project. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But I think what's very important for us to recognize how things happen. Philip Jackson told Gloria Smith not too long before his passing that he said, in essence, I want you to look after Zaahid. I want you to look after Zaahid McClellon, and I want you to get him on board. And as a result of that, it was like my auntie told my relatives in Baltimore, look after Jimmy's boy. Okay? In this case, Philip said, look after Vonnie's boy. And this is Vonnie's boy here today that is with us and is going to talk about some dynamic things that he's doing since he's been a part of the Black Star Project. But let me give you a little bit. He's going to tell you more about what he's about and what he's doing. But I can give you this little bit of introduction. He's a senior at Roosevelt University. He's been with the Black Star Project for about 6 years or so, wearing different hats. He is now the program manager for the
Black Star Project?
Nope. Go ahead.
For the Young Black Men of Honor program.
The Young Black Men of Honor program. Say that again so folks don't forget it.
For the Young Black Men of Honor program.
Are you folks taking down notes? You're going to need to take down some notes today because he's going to give you some good information for you to follow up, especially with some of the programs that he'll be talking about that he's intimately involved in. But we're glad to have Zaahid here today. And Vonnie, his mother, is out in the audience looking at her son, very proud of what her son is doing. And all you folks at the Black Star Project, glad that you are watching this too. But also, got to give it out to Dr. Mike Washington, our associate producer for guest engagement, and to Ellis Taylor, who is the associate producer for social media engagement. Thank you all for helping put this together. Guess what, Zaahid? You're going to be on board right now. Tell us a little bit about the program,
Absolutely.
About the youth, and what it does.
Absolutely. So, let me start by saying it's a pleasure to be here. Very happy to be here on the show.
But tell them, I got to stop you for a second. I want you to tell folks why you're glad you're here. I'll say it, what you told me, and I got to share this with the audience, right?
Yeah, sure.
You said you wanted to be here because you wanted to make Philip proud.
Absolutely.
That was your involvement with the Black Star. I want to make Philip proud. This is one of those occasions. He's looking down and you making him proud. Go ahead now.
Absolutely.
I had to give you the proper introduction.
I appreciate that. So yeah, let me just start by telling you a little bit about the Young Black Men of Honor program that myself and one of my colleagues, Deacon Price, who is our lead mentor. So I want to say about maybe maybe 5 years ago is when I really started, being introduced into the program. Mentorship is something that was sort of pretty much like a, what's the word I'm going to use?
A mission?
Yeah, it was something that was, called for us to do. Many parents called and asked, do you all have any mentorship programs when I first started? And at the time, the Young Black Men of Honor program was not up and running at that time. It had always been a program of the Black Star Project. To be quite honest, it's one of Black Star's what I like to call flagship programs.
Flagship, premier.
Yep. So it's a program that's been around for, I want to say, a little over 15 years.
I'm going to stop you 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
The mission. Talk about the mission of that program.
Absolutely. So our mission is to bring, young black men into the fold of a brotherhood, into a sort of a guidance, being guided by, what we like to call it Black Star. We call it intergenerational. So this is sort of an intergenerational guidance where you have, folks who are my age and maybe a little older or even a little younger. But what we do at Black Star and for all of our programs is intergenerational. So
what ages for that program?
So for the Young Black Men of Honor program, we usually do 10 to 18.
10 to 18, okay.
Yep. And so, and we will cover a multitude of topics over the course of 10 weeks.
And I want you folks listening out there, daddies, mamas, grandma, grandpas, write this information down because you're going to want to get your sons, your daughters, or the sons at least for this program, involved, engaged in this program. And he's going to be giving us more information about the things that you cover in the program.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
So just to give you a brief sort of understanding of some of the topics that we've covered thus far. So last week we covered the topic of grief and just, how we as individuals deal with grief. Sharing that experience, that real life experience with, with the youth and how to, how we have overcome grief has really been something that has been very transparent, very honest. And it's one of the reasons that, I love this program because we get to share our experiences with the youth.
That makes it real, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It brings it down when you and Deacon Price and the young gentlemen that are involved, they have a chance to come from the inside and relieve themselves or just to share. What do you get more sharing or is relieving or what?
It's been more sharing. I think, when you have a topic like that, it opens it up to be able to be more, like I said, transparent. There's conversation to be had around the topic of how, we as individuals deal with it. So one person's perspective may be different from another's. So sharing that with the youth and helping them grow as individuals is really, what we aim for.
I think that's critical too because it's not just coming from older adults like Deacon Price and maybe some of your guests, but it's coming from somebody that's closer to them peers, that you can share something, things that have been recent, etc., and they can identify a little bit more with that. Have you found that to be the case, Zaahid?
I have. One of the things that I love to see is just the interaction with the kids and how they're communicating with each other.
I get a kick out of you saying the kids.
Yeah. And
You're not that old, but you're talking about kids, but I think it's for real. Go ahead and talk about the kids.
So being able to just have that sort of open communication amongst each other is something that's really special because, like I said, it helps to build that sense of brotherhood where you can talk about anything in that space amongst each other.
I would guess too, from just when we prepare for a program, you share a lot of things with me, and one of the things that you shared was how this program, and you're going to talk about some of the other aspects and things you cover, make the person more well-rounded.
Absolutely.
And as you were saying, creates that brotherhood. And I think that's probably akin to fraternities and Morehouse guys and what they have with their tradition. You are part of building tradition that came from Philip that are rounding them out. And part of it is the sharing that you're talking about. Talk about that a little bit more. Maybe give us some stories of some of the things, without having to name names, of what you've done or some of the experiences that have come out that you've helped youth in that 10 to 18-year-olds go through.
Okay, so I'll give you sort of like the timeline of when we see youth come into the program.
Okay.
And over the year, how they grow over the years, because that to me is the most important part, and I think that is the most gratifying part of the job itself. It's just to see how the youth grow and really shape and mold into their own individuals. When I say we focus on topics that make them well-rounded, being able to see children grow from an emotional standpoint, being able to articulate what they're feeling, how things affect them. Even just some of the topics that that are covered, they're giving valued opinions on the given topic. There's depth within the conversations that we have.
That's
in the room.
grieving part that you were sharing with us. Yes, go ahead.
There's depth within the conversations that we have in the room. If you've ever been in Black Star, it really will blow you away with how some of these kids really come into their own and really take over the space.
That's a perfect segue. You can talk about how does somebody get involved and what period of time they can get involved. Give them a phone number, email address, or whatever. Give our guests that, so those who are writing this down for their grandchildren or their children, give them an idea how to make contact so that they can become eligible.
Absolutely. So if you'd like to register for one of our programs, all it takes is a phone call or an email.
Repeat it.
All it takes is a phone call or an email.
What's the phone call?
The phone call, the number that you'll dial, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
773. 285. 9600.
9600. You get that, you folks out at Crocs and Atlas? Write that down. All the fans, supporters, write that information down. Give them an email address too.
Okay. I'll give you the phone number again. Again, that's
773.
285. 9600.
That's the
the email that you can email me directly.
Okay. So give it up. Give it up. All right.
So that's Z McClellon. That's Z.
As in zebra.
Yes. Z is
or as in Zaahid.
Z is
which was it?
Z is in zebra. We'll do that. McClellon. That's McClellon at blackstarproject.org.
.org. Now that's not .com. That's .org. We're going to make that differentiation. We're going to let you repeat that a little bit later on and tell folks what ages for certain programs, etc. But go continue on this vein.
And you'll get all that information once you call, and we're able to talk over the phone.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that if they call after hours and leave a message, somebody, a person, not
Absolutely.
AI, is going to call them back?
Absolutely.
It might even be Gloria.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let them know that this is for real. You guys are trying to get folks engaged, and you will follow through and give out that information. We will follow up on it.
Yes, sir.
When
Yes,
is
sir.
the? I know you're going through one cycle now, and you do it about quarterly. Is that correct?
Yeah. So normally we kind of go with the school schedule. There's a fall session, which we're in now.
Okay.
And then once we enter that winter session, which should be sometime in January. Yep,
Okay.
Sometime in January.
To be determined.
Yep, to be determined. And then all you have to do is call or send an email and say that you would like to register for a specific session, and it could even be the fall session. We take students all year round. We take students...
Integrate them into it? Okay.
In the middle of the session, or it could be for another session. So
Tell the folks where you're located at.
we are located right in the heart of Bronzeville.
What's the address?
3509 South King Drive.
Tell them about it. Okay. What's the other name for it? I ain't going to tell you. Philip Jackson Parkway, right?
Yep.
Philip Jackson Parkway, that's where the Black Star Project is. And where all these programs, some of them anyway, but you're going to talk a little bit more about some of the other programs too now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, our other mentorship program that we have is called the Philip Jackson Youth Development Program, which is actually started. It's already started, but it's on Fridays from 5 to 7.
5 to 7 on Fridays.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And from ages, we have kids from all different types of all different ages. Maybe I honestly would say probably 10 to 18, just like our Young Black Men of Honor program. This past Sunday, we went on an excursion.
That was the tours of Bronzeville?
Yes,
Go ahead.
Tour of
Yes.
Bronzeville. So the kids got a chance to, walk around Bronzeville. There's a lot of history in Bronzeville. So they got a chance to do that.
And what did you learn? This is not the first time you've been on the tour, right?
So actually, I did not go with them this past Sunday. But one of my favorite things about the tour is learning. So right outside the Black Star Project, if you look outside the window when you're in the office, you'll see the statue of
The black soldiers, yeah.
You'll see the statue of the black
World
soldiers.
War I
World
soldiers.
War I. Yeah, the first black soldier.
No, it actually was. I'm not
wasn't.
correcting you. They were black soldiers from the Civil War through ad infinitum. That black soldiers were involved. Civil War, before that, part of the Revolutionary Crispus Attucks, right? Part of the rebels back then when the country was founded. But black soldiers have been involved, engaged in some form in protecting our company, and they have not been given their due. We started to get a little bit more when we found out about the Tuskegee Airmen, right? And what they did in being the guardians of the bombers that the American pilots were using in the Second World War. Never lost a plane. Never lost a plane. There were black soldiers at Iwo Jima. But those films, I'm telling you a little bit of history too, those films never came out. You never see those black soldiers that were there, Marines, at Iwo Jima. But that is historical, that look out the window. But the building that you're in, what's the background? You know the background of the building you're in?
Absolutely. Now, I don't know the year that it was built, but this used to be what's called the Supreme Life Building.
Supreme Life.
It was the first, correct me if I'm wrong, it was the first life insurance building?
Yes, yes. How many of you people out there know about Supreme Liberty Life? You see, there's a couple at Atlas, and there's a few down at Crocs. But tell us some more about what you remember about it, what you've been told about Supreme Life.
That building, the building itself has a huge clock on the front of it, and you really can't miss it. It's right on the corner of 35th Street. And I believe that clock has always been there, part of the building.
That would make it close to 100 years old.
Close to.
I got a lot of history in that building.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Me.
So wait a minute, you're supposed to learn something today too? I thought it was just us teaching. But go ahead. You got some other things that we want to get on the table, so that you can tell all of our guests that are watching and even the rebroadcast what is happening and what can happen for their loved ones down at the Black Star Project.
So we also have a summer program called the Ambassadors of Hope program.
Ambassadors of Hope Summer of 2025.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That program is more of we use it as a sort of a program not for mentorship, but it is for children to have something to do in the summer. So we usually like to have arts and crafts. We do excursions during the summer. Everything that you can really think of to get kids engaging with each other in a safe environment.
Safe environment. Say it again. Safe environment.
Yes. We try to engage in really just to get youth the experience of seeing more of the city, especially during the summertime. But also,
are they becoming young Renaissance men when they do that? See the city and go to their art places? Go ahead.
we hope so. We hope so. Just kind of getting the youth sort of engaging with each other, but also giving them freedom of expression to through the arts and crafts and things like that.
Well, aren't you also doing something with the STEM programs?
Yes.
Science. Go ahead.
Yes. So we have those programs are on Saturdays. We have our Kimberly Lyford Saturday University program.
And where is that located at?
In Maywood.
Maywood also. So we stretch.
Yeah.
Black Star stretches out. Okay.
Yes. The exact address I cannot think of.
But if you call, leave a message.
You will.
Somebody's going to get back to them.
Yes.
In a timely manner, too.
Yes.
Oh, I'm putting you on the spot now.
Go ahead and do it.
I know you can handle it.
Yeah.
You make him feel proud.
Absolutely.
Okay, but also, you mentioned intergenerational.
Mm-hmm.
You do some things with parents, too.
Yes, we have a...
Tell our audience some of the things that are involved parents.
So, one of our programs that involve parents is actually a program that I help run, which is our Philip Jackson Freedom School program. Now, the Freedom School program is not like your typical school or typical tutoring program. While we do a little bit of tutoring, we also leave it open for engagement with using like free time and things like that. So it's not so much of you're sitting in one space and learning math or reading or whatever it is that's being covered. You're being able to express through whether it be arts and crafts. It's more of a relaxed tutoring, so to speak.
That their skills and talents and gifts come out. It's that way of okay.
And we involve the parents as well. So typically what we like to do is when the student comes in, we sit down with the parent and the student to get to know both at once, and kind of what the parent wants their student to work on, what they feel their student needs to improve in. And through that whole process, through the weeks that we are there, the parents are invited to stay and be a part of that learning process with their student.
And sharing their experiences. But I want to get you to talk about one other thing. That's Building Chicago's Next CEOs. Can you talk?
That's
that was that
Freedom
program.
School. That's the Freedom School.
That's the Freedom School. Okay, good.
So the Building Chicago Next CEO program is more of an entrepreneurship program where we focus on entrepreneurship and financial literacy. That program has really been for helping, folks who have small businesses and want to learn how to get their business off the ground.
Given today's date, in the few minutes we have, share with our audience here what today, the voting today, you've been voting for a few years now. Tell us what it means to you to be able to vote.
Well, I think, being able to vote is exercising your pro-choice. I think that when you have the opportunity to express yourself and to make your voice heard and to have impact, you can do it through voting. You can do it through speaking, to your aldermen and really
recognizing the power that you have, even at whatever ages, right?
Yep, through your voice. Through your voice.
And that includes octogenarians like me and folks who are in the teens are almost ready to vote. They can be engaged in some way. And volunteerism.
Absolutely.
And I think you encourage that too.
Absolutely.
At Black Star Project.
We do.
And what's that number again?
773
285
96 00.
And he might be the one that returns your phone call, or might be there when you're there, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And your mother might be there sometime to volunteer. She volunteers still. Smiley volunteer.
Every now
and then.
I'll try to get it.
We won't drop a dime on her, but she's going to volunteer more. Now we've had her on, talk about her on TV, right?
Yeah.
What about your brother? You going to get him involved too?
Yeah, somewhat. I'll try.
They're telling us to wrap up. I want to thank, Gloria, is Philip made proud today? Did Zaahid make him Zaahid, you made him proud today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right.